Okay, well, thank you. Welcome to our webinar on how much our online review is actually worth. As we settled in, I'd like to thank you for joining us today and hope you are all safe. I'm actually very excited to share with you our insights on ways to leverage reviews to increase customer conversion and satisfaction. So please note that we'll have a quick poll midway through the presentation, as well as a Q&A at the end of the seminar. Okay, so first of all, let me say that originally our founder and CEO, Narges, was going to present, but unfortunately she was unable to attend and sent her deepest regrets. So I'd like to briefly introduce myself for those of you we have not met yet in person, and give you a very brief overview of Keytext as well. So my name is Raphaël Vergniaud. I'm the CRO at Keytext. Although I'm looking after sales today, my background is really technology. I've helped brands and enterprises in their digital transformation journey for many years across Asia, Europe, and now North America. And for those of you who are still getting to know better Keytext, so Keytext is a pioneer in artificial intelligence and natural language processing applied to customer feedback with an emphasis on online reviews. Essentially, we provide a fast way for brands to analyze the voice of their customer from multiple sources, such as Amazon, Sephora, or their own website, and then process huge volume of feedback really fast. This allows brands to save a huge amount of time and be able to concentrate on actions to increase sales and improve the customer experience. Keytext provides for that insights presented in simple and clear dashboards. So without further ado, I'll jump right in. So with the sudden arrival of this pandemic, many businesses have been left in a very precarious situation. I mean, with social distancing measures in place, in-store purchases dropped considerably. Consumers have opted for online purchases more than ever before, and the numbers show it. There's been a 129% year-on-year growth in US and Canadian e-commerce orders as of April 21st, and an impressive 146% growth in online retail orders. So as consumers increasingly turn to online for purchases and are unable to go into stores to learn more about products, well, they are forced to turn to the next best thing, trusty online reviews. Well, unsurprisingly, a recent study revealed that the total review engagement is way up on normal levels and has climbed in line with increased sales volume. So as the consumer turned to online purchase, well, new patterns have emerged. And what was an interesting information before reviews to check before getting to a store has now become a critical information in the buying decision journey. From a business perspective, reviews are a gold mine of information where consumers share what they like about the product, what they dislike, or what they do, or why they do it with the product. Some of them are even willing to share their daily routines, their lifestyle, or the struggle that led them to choose a particular product. So for marketer, product designer, customer experience managers, this personal and unprompted feedback provides really valuable context for, well, product and sales strategy decisions. And we know that when shopping for any type of item, the majority of consumers turn to online reviews to make the decision. These trusted words, even surprisingly from online strangers, are incredibly important part of the buying process. And the studies show that, for example, 95% of consumers are influenced by online reviews for purchase, even if in the past days they were going to a store to actually buy. So the fact is, customers are using reviews to speak to their peers about how they think and feel about products. And people want to hear from each other about their lived experiences with product, and people trust each other more than they actually trust the brands and their product. Not just that, 73% of consumers think written reviews are more important than just stars or number ratings. So today we'll look in the role of reviews and what it plays in the customer experience journey. And we'll see how to leverage this goldmine without, well, losing your shirt or breaking your wallet. And finally, conclude on the real worth of reviews. So let's start with understanding the role of reviews in the customer journey. So for the purpose of the presentation, we've plotted the different stages of the customer journey, and we'll be focusing on the three first steps: awareness, consideration, and conversion, where reviews are the most impactful. The ultimate customer acquisition, basically. But let's be clear, I mean, the journey continues beyond, and so does the life and the value of reviews. So we'll also touch that toward the end. So let's go through the journey together. I mean, starting with your awareness stage, where a potential customer is aware that they have a need, they want to buy, in that particular example, a monitor, and they are now researching information and actively looking for answers to guide them to a solution. See the overwhelming amount of information. I mean, obviously, this is where advertisement plays an important role in positioning a product as a potential option. But paradigm has changed, and as the pandemic is keeping us online more now than ever, and customers are being hit with more advertising, email blasts, pop-up deals, and other branded marketing in every facet of their online lives. With all that noise, it's more difficult than ever for marketing to get their message through. And actually, what is really working? Well, according to a report in 2019, 83% of consumers don't trust advertisement, while 76% do trust reviews. Here really comes to light the power of customer feedback and online reviews in particular, and its impact while in the next stage of the customer journey, the consideration. So consideration, well, by now, your prospects have done their initial research and are aware of some of the options they can choose from. They have narrowed down their options, but they are still going to search for more information. This is the stage where they are comparing your product price, reading customer reviews, checking out competitors, and learning more about the detail of your product. This is a stage where consumers spend most of their time. 65% of consumers spend more than 16 minutes comparison shopping before making a purchase. So that leads to the conversion. In this phase, your prospective customer is ready to select from their option and make a purchase. By now, the potential buyer has done all the research they need to be well informed on what will best fit their needs. At this stage of the customer journey, customer reviews are, again, crucial. Remember, 95% say customer review influence their purchase decision, right? Just right, they push the button. So this is the time where a prospect will look at reviews and look for an answer to the question, why should I choose you? And they are looking for social proof. That's your product, to see that your product does what you say it will do. And by the way, I mean, the average consumer reads between 4 to 10 reviews before feeling able to trust the business. And this even changes depending on the demographic. The younger you are, the more review will be required for establishing that trust. And this is also when they look for proof that they're offering a good customer care service, and that if problems appear after the purchase, they will have the appropriate help. And that's really where comes the power of bad reviews, because this is the place where any bad review can be turned into a positive situation if a timely and appropriate reply has been given. In fact, statistics show that this is the time where trust is built. Market research shows that just by responding to half of reviews, sales can increase by a factor 2. Remember, when shopping online, consumer research ways to build trust. Answering bad review is an easy way to amplify and strengthen the trust. Show honesty and engage actively. Even more interestingly, 25% of consumers are ready to pay more for a brand they trust. So let's have a short break now with a poll, and let me ask you what you do today with your reviews. So, okay, so you should see in front of you in a second. Okay, so we start to have the first results. Okay, great. Thank you. Almost everybody has voted. Thank you for your involvement. And it starts to show. So, well, very impressively, 40% of you are reading them all. So very impressive, because often the number of reviews will be the first challenge to read them all. 35% read or sample read, so read just some of them. I see about 6% don't have any ways to collect them, and 17% like to but don't have the time. And this really highlights, so let me close the poll and hopefully go back to the screen. Okay, so here you should be able to see the screen and the stats. So, and this illustrates what we'll get into in a few minutes. The challenge of potentially reading them all. And if you do read them all, the time it takes for that to do so. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Can just confirm that you see my screen. Maybe it will take a second. Sorry for that. Okay, let me go back to you in 2 seconds. Small technical issue here. Sorry for that. 2 seconds, we'll get there. Okay, so hopefully you should be able to see my screen now. Yes? Okay, perfect. Thank you for that, and sorry for the glitch. So, okay, so let's look into actually leveraging that goldmine. So obviously it's one thing to understand the value of negative review, but it's another one to manage them. So you need to address them quickly. And how fast brands respond to a negative review, for example, is really matters. I mean, a customer of ours shared that their customer were 70% more likely to change their review if the brand was responding within 1 hour. They would change it for 40% of the customers if they respond within 24 hours, but beyond that, they would not change the review. So timing is really critical here as well. And while the goldmine of customer feedback is out there, well, the sheer amount of it can seem overwhelming to even the most seasoned marketing strategists. And not only the volume of information is exploding, not to mention the change in the online purchase behavior due to the pandemic these days, but also because the source of review are multiplying. So while many organizations start embracing a strategy around online review production, so basically getting people to write reviews on their product or services, often the next phase is in its infancy. So understanding why customers are saying what they say and turning it into actionable insights for the organization is where the effort should be put. And that's where artificial intelligence comes into the picture. I mean, so I've touched on the value of understanding consumer behaviors, their likes and dislikes, but consumer feedback management goes beyond customer experience, and it impacts every avenue of your business, your rating, the product, the overall customer journey. So it can be a natural reflex during times like these to pull back on marketing spend. But now is the prime moment to reach these consumers who are sitting at home with more time and are being more mindful of their purchase choices. So what do we do when we actually collect this valuable feedback, and how do we leverage it to boost our sales and marketing without breaking our wallet? Well, artificial intelligence text analytics might seem like kind of abstract or complex technology, but fundamentally it serves as the engine. And that basically means looking into the overall process that is called consumer feedback management loop. As you can see in the picture in front of you, it starts with basically collecting the online review first and foremost, and as exhaustively as possible from every channel, every e-commerce website, and of course have that done in an automated way. So centralize this information. Once you've got the information at hand, it's really analyzing the voice of customer in the comments. Get the insights behind the sentiment, behind the review, and all of them, not just sampling to get a flavor, but to have an exhaustive view on everything they are talking about. So you can detect the emerging trends in that way. And you can use these insights to build a personal experience with the consumer and pass on customer expectation to the rest of the organization. Then monitor the feedback. I mean, engage with the customer, not only the detractors, but also the advocates. Create that connection that will build the brand and ensure its resilience. This is a never-ending process, and it's even more important when customer expectation or the distribution channels are changing rapidly, which is the case today. So, equip yourself with the right tools to automate and simplify the overall process, so that you can increase your efficiency, reduce your cost to actually manage that, and concentrate on the core and collect those multiple sources, but get accurate and clear, actionable insights. So all in all, how much are reviews really worth? So based on various sources of industry experts, there is a number of statistics here that are very, very interesting. I mean, if you increase by 0.1% star rating that you have, you can increase the conversion rate by up to 25%. By replying to just 1 in 2 review, you can more than double the conversion rate. And when the overall rating goes above 4.1, you can increase also the consumer spending by up to 31%. So we did the math. And I mean, the table here shows you how staggering it is, how managing reviews can be impactful in terms of business. I mean, if you accumulate, all those elements and really have an end-to-end closed loop for managing not only the data collection, the analysis, the response, the engagement, that can increase more than 260% the revenue that will be generated by your business online. So now the question is, how much are your reviews really worth? And so I would like to leave you before we kick off with some Q&A and questions with few takeaways and simple recommendation. The key here is to manage reviews and not only receive them. And start by including review management in your digital strategy. Make sure that your team is equipped to leverage this gold mine. Add surveys and customer tickets to the source of feedback. Obviously, online reviews are key to our conversation today, but any channels where the voice of your customer is expressed can be added to have a better picture, better insights, and more strategic decision. So keep up really with what is being said daily. Thousands of reviews from many different sources, and possibly if you have a global organization, multiple languages. Remember always, this is the first contact your future customer will have with your product or your company. So always respond to reviews, respond quickly, be authentic and personal. Really try to establish a connection and always show empathy. It's a great opportunity to establish a long-lasting link with consumer so that you care about them and make the virtual relationship a bit more concrete with this human touch. Always look to understand the why behind the customer feedback or the sentiment that they have expressed in the reviews or in the survey that you've analyzed. So you can take every piece of that to personalize the content with the insight that you've gained. And keep an eye on the competition. The beauty of reviews is they are public, and you can obviously monitor your own reviews, your own product and services, and make sure that you're closing the loop and responding to that timely and efficiently. But you can also look at the competition, the leading product in certain range, the one that actually are very successful, or those that are actually not so successful, because every bit of feedback here can be valuable and interesting for you. In this very, very unique time that we are all living, nobody can really predict what customer will need or prefer, because we've never experienced that. So the best way is really to listen to what they are telling you, monitor closely how their feedback and the conversation evolve. So, I understand there was a lot of information packed in a very short period of time. So we know that, but we want to help. And if you don't know where to start, well, reach out to us. We'll be very happy to discuss. We are also offering a 2 weeks complimentary access to our platform to see if we can help you with some needs that you have right now. We'll also send you the recording of the webinar and the deck afterwards. And as always, we're here to help you turn every piece of feedback into a business opportunity. So again, thank you so much for your participation. Now I will open the floor for questions. Okay, so there's a question which is, how much volume of online reviews does my company need to benefit from Keytext? That's a very good question. Basically, you have to see it in a simple way. If you can read manually, easily, in just a few minutes, the review that you're getting, you probably don't need to have a platform to help you there. But as soon as you start to have multiple sources of information and where you start to have your day shifting towards reading reviews rather than taking actions with the insights that are in there, then that's probably time to have a tool. So it could be a few hundreds, and obviously the more you have, the more you will need to have that help with a solution like ours. Another question, how does monitoring reviews differ from reputation management? Excellent question as well. I would say it's complementary to each other. Obviously, reputation is how your brand or your organization is perceived by the market in multiple different channels. The reputation can be the overall image of the company, whereas the reviews will typically be for a given product or service. But as a matter of fact, you have reviews also around the company itself. I mean, if you look at HR sites that collect reviews on companies, well, that's part of the picture. And actually, the same logic should apply, which is, well, the reviews, that being talking about the company or a product or a service, will reflect a certain experience your customer have had with your organization. And so you should make sure that you collect that information, you analyze it, you respond to it. And that will actually build part of your reputation, which will which include more things around the marketing that you may have to do as well. But that will be a critical piece for the insight. Another question, which is, does key text cover reviews written in all languages and break them down into comprehensive insight? Yes, today we support up to 54 languages. Everything so can be collected from e-commerce sites from Asia to Europe to Americas, and everything will be consolidated and presented in a single language, in English typically. But there will be the possibility for the user of the platform to flip back to the original language and also to get a direct link to the initial reviews to be able to respond. Again, the idea here is to facilitate the overall process of the loop management. So not only getting the review, but responding to it, responding in just a few clicks rather than to have to go back to searching where this is coming from, and having always the possibility to flip between original language and English. Thank you. A lot of questions. Thank you very much for your involvement. So how complex is it to set up the system to collect the reviews, and does the sentiment break down across individual platforms? Excellent question as well. So, and that's the beauty of a solution like ours. This has been built to minimize the setup, and really the idea is to identify which are the source of information you want to analyze. We'll take care of the heavy lifting, and basically in a day or two you will be up and running. So you just tell us Amazon, TripAdvisor, and here is what I want to monitor. We have all the backend and the infrastructure in place. So we'll be able to collect it and present you the next day, give you access to the platform and the insights. The sentiment will be broken down, of course, in positive, negative, but also question, suggestion, very valuable for marketers. And you will have all the possibility to slice and dice information depending on the source of information. It's, by the way, a great way to compare the efficiency of different channels to sell your product. One more question. I'm trying to keep up with reviews online, but I'm noticing there is a lot of duplicated reviews, and it really adds to the job and skew the numbers and waste time. Is there something we can do about it? Yes, another interesting question. A lot of brands, and maybe you're familiar with the process, use syndication to actually show more reviews in a single place, basically. So they collect the same reviews, or they collect the reviews from different places and show them in a single place. So the issue with that is if you collect it from all those different sources, you may have duplication. Well, don't worry about that. We will take care of it. The idea is really to find the insight and not to get duplication that would bias the output of the platform. So we take care of the deduplication of reviews. We make sure that we take into account only one at a time. Another question. Yes. Okay, is there an example or a case study you can give me to understand how online reviews led to positive concrete action that would have been missed otherwise? Yes, absolutely, several of them. And that leads me to actually an interesting point. In many cases, especially for global brands or large organizations, you may have local team in each market that have, well, for a goal to sell the product, and they don't have the possibility to change the actual product, but they can work everything else around it. They can work the message, they can work the advertising, obviously, and that's really where they will have the possibility to take the insights. And we have several examples like that where, for example, a product, people were complaining about the description. It's for a foundation cosmetic company where consumers were basically complaining about the color that was on the package versus the color that they could see on their skin once they've applied the foundation. So the marketing team in the market, well, obviously could not change the package of the product because it was a multinational and done in a different part of the world. However, they had the possibility to change the description on the website, on the e-commerce website. And by just responding to that, they could say, well, acknowledge, okay, we understand, we're sorry you were disappointed and that didn't really match your expectation. Here is probably the one that matches more, and basically engage with the customer. So instead of being really upset about that, the customer was actually delighted to have somebody who cared, responded, and guided them towards a different product. Completely different experience. We had several examples for a product where the user were complaining they didn't know how to use a certain function. And again, the marketing team could respond in the reviews with a link and a video that was explaining how to use the product. And again, when the first 10, 20 reviews were systematically complaining about how to use that part of the product, after that, I was, okay, very straightforward, very simple, and the review faded away. So thank you. I think we're done with questions. Do a last round. Anyone? Any more questions? No? Well, thank you very much for your time today. It was a pleasure to present that to you. I hope it was useful. Again, feel free to reach out to me or us. We'll be happy to enable you on the platform. And well, stay safe. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.